Sam Oracle Chinedu here. We need to make the most of time for this conversation because my guest is on the clock. The People's Democratic Party has asked Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia to name the politicians he said are behind the killings in the state. This comes after the governor accused Benue political office holders in Abuja of being behind the insecurity in the state. But in a statement signed by its publicity secretary, Tim Nyo, the Benue State chapter of the PDP accused the governor of engaging in a blame game over the killings. The party described the governor's allegations as irresponsible, deeply disheartening, and counterproductive. Now, there have been other times that political office holders or those highly placed have claimed that they knew terrorism financiers, even though they never got to mention their names. So this trend, is it unsettling or is it just okay? My guest is Mr. Efe Wanagho. He's a security expert and he joins me virtually. Thank you, Mr. Wanagho, for making the time. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be with Nigeria Info.
All right. So, in many cases, such allegations come without names or concrete evidence. How does the security apparatus verify such claims before acting?
Oh, okay. So the truth is that more often than not, even before you hear about the allegations you have in the public domain, via conventional media or otherwise, the intelligence agencies that we have, be it the DSS or the intelligence wing of the police and the military, they already have the information, particularly when it is credible information and then processed into intelligence. So most of what you have out there, for me, I like to see sensationalism, right?
Okay.
Whether the information is out there or not, I can assure you that the security agencies are already aware because they have the spread, they have the network, and they have the manpower to get that particular information and then do the needful.
Okay. Now, should that information be made public? Because, if the governor of a state says, I know those that are causing unrest in my state, you and I would expect that he has some intelligence that we may not have. And maybe he doesn't trust the security agencies. So would the best strategy be making it public on a news platform or reporting to maybe another agency? What options will such a person have at his disposal?
So my thinking would be for you to have a governor talk like that and make such pronouncements on the radio and stopping short of naming names in the manner of speaking would be an indication of frustration on his part. And if you recall, I had on previous occasions, and I'm sure practitioners in this space have mentioned severally, that our governors are lame duck chief security officers wherever they find themselves. They don't control the levels of security as far as the Nigerian security architecture is concerned. And to that extent, for a governor to talk like that, he's being very careful and he's walking a tightrope. He doesn't want it to seem as though he's causing further chaos in town, but yet he's trying to send a message that he's frustrated. That is the way I see it. Because most of the information that he gets, he did not get them even before the security agencies, I can assure you. Nigerian security agencies are as properly schooled and properly integrated to get such information. But what is done to such information is where the issue is. Is it an actionable information having been processed to intelligence? And those who should act on it, have they acted on it, or are they paying lip service to it? So for a governor, I come back to where I began from, for a governor to make such a tirade on radio or on TV, it's an indication of frustration. And it's much more deeper than it is because for him, he has complained, the citizens have cried out, they've been killings, and it did not start with him. His predecessors, all of them, have had episodes of killings, in their numbers in Benue State, Ditto Plateau State, and elsewhere. And such scenarios, what do you expect the governor to do? And it's just unfortunate this time that the governor, or coincidentally, manner of speaking, that is from the same party with the president. Elsewhere, you find the governor being of a different party, and then everything is politicized. So I recall that before the previous governor left office, it was that Governor Tom, those on the other side were castigating him. It was as though he was playing politics with the killings. But now, you have somebody from the ruling party, and then the killings have not abated. So that in itself, for me, is an indication of frustration on the part of the office holder, that is the governor.
Okay, so the security security agencies know, based on the sophistication that you claim they have, The governors are frustrated. The citizens and the people are obviously helpless because they don't even have any system or structure to fight that high-level insecurity. So what, I don't even know if I should ask what should we do or what should happen. Where is there now hope?
So if you ask me, I would say that there are a myriad of problems that the security agencies face, right? From manpower issues to logistical issues, training, and what have you. But be that as it may, my take would be what is lacking for me would be a proper prioritization of security of life and property in the country. In other words, I have not seen the political will. I can assure you that the minute the Nigerian commander-in-chief, who is in this case is the president of the Federal Republic, puts his foot down and gives the marching orders to his political security chiefs, there will be results. I want to take your mind back to when President Jonathan was in office. Recall that Boko Haram was terrorizing the Northeast, even after the emergency had been declared. And prior to the election, what happened? A marching order was given, and General E.A. Jirika, who was chief of army staff, ensured that there was a proper decimation, when I was speaking, Boko Haram around the border axis of Benue State. But what happened? You saw that Boko Haram went under, and then what happened? It was being turned into politics. Many people on the other political divide from the northern part of the country were now turning that as a political tool against the president of the time. You understand? So it is not unlikely that the president we have now is being very careful so that he doesn't go all out against these people and then it's being misinterpreted. But for me, I think that this is not time for political expediency. It's not time for you to please anybody or to appease anybody. If you think that your country is facing this kind of existential crisis, I see it, you better call your people you are putting in office and give them the marching orders. Because they tell you, the chief of defense staff was quoted as saying, not up to a week ago, that the Nigerian porous borders should be walled, should be fenced. Just like Trump is talking about the US and Mexico, right? If somebody at the chief of defense staff is making such pronouncements, it goes to show his own hands up in the air in resignation, in the manner of speaking, right? So for me, the commander-in-chief should give that marching order. Where there is the will, then the resources will follow that will. You understand? There should be a kind of emergency situation in such locations and in such states. And then you channel the resources that are appropriate. You pass accelerated budgetary provisions and you ensure they get to the soldiers in the field. If you do that, and the country focuses on it, I can assure you that Boko Haram, bandits, whatever you call them, they are not more sophisticated or even half as sophisticated as our military and our security agencies. They are not. What is missing, it appears to be a staccato of sorts for those who like music, right? We don't have, from the way I see it, a proper coordinated approach. And like somebody would say, it appears like we are fighting reactionary. We are fighting not from on the offense, but from the defense. That's the problem we have. What happened in Baghdad then was that Nigerian military went on the offense and it was an all engagement. But they routed Boko Haram. They put them in the manner of speaking. So we have to get back to that particular point, get somebody in the mode of EAD or give the chief of army staff you have now, chief of defense staff, marching orders and tell them you want to resist. This is not to say that you may have cases of collateral damage, right? This is not to say that you don't have Amnesty International coming to talk about human rights
abuse. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So you do your proper groundwork and do more precision guided attacks. Not a case where the Air Force will not come tomorrow and say, we didn't know there were civilians there. And what have you? So for me, the political will is the most critical aspect of it. And then you have other problems that I think that will, if it is properly tailored, can then not get the support you require. The manpower who would have been recruiting en masse, right? Who would have been plotting with us en masse. It's not when you stay once in 2 years, you get one fighter jet and then you celebrate it. And the next 16 months, to the next 24 months, you get one, you celebrate it. This thing should be an ongoing affair. It appears like we are at war as a country, but only one part is aware that the war is going on. So we need to get that war mode. And then everybody will fall in line behind the president and the military. That's my take.
Okay, well, you have already partially answered this question, but I'll have to ask nonetheless. When we have these problems in different parts of the country, particularly the north, Nigerians call for the sack or the resignation of service chiefs. That's usually the first reaction. And with what you've said now, should they now channel their anger towards the president for lack of political will, or should they still call out service chiefs when these things happen?
Look, for me, I've not even been a fan of calling out the service chief. I've always held the highest office holder responsible. It's not left for him to feed and then allocate consequence management as is appropriate. He knows who is causing him the headache, right? He knows which of his food soldiers or field chiefs is giving him the problems.
Yeah.
And then he does the needful. Because what I find lacking across both, just in the security space in our country, is there is a gross lack of consequence management. People are not held accountable for complicity, for negligence, and otherwise. They don't get account. Let's say you have a for instance, under his watch, there is no extortion. People are being hounded and put into cells that and then he's not punished. You have a brigade commander, for instance, under his watch, that commander of criminality. He's supposed to answer for it. How did you deploy your men that you had in that area of responsibility? Well, they don't answer for it. People are not fired for that. People are not punished for that. When we begin to hold the feet of those people to the fire of accountability, then they will step up. But of course, the citizenry voted for the president. So for me, they channeled their anger towards the president, who himself will now know that of all the appointees that I have, which of them is delivering on his mandate. Anyone who is causing him, fire him. The minimum, that's the least of what he can do, because he can actually charge them for criminal negligence or complicity, as the case may be.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Wanagho, for your time. It's always wonderful sharing space with you. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you so very much, and have a nice day.
All right. Well, there you have it. It boils down to political will. It gives validity to the statement. The buck stops at the president's table. A break happens now. After that, you and I get to talk. For all the people who claim that they know terrorism financiers, those who say that certain political office holders, politicians are behind the terror in different parts of the country, should naming and shaming be deployed? Or should this information, as sensitive as it is, be made available only to security agencies? You get to answer after the break. Stay with us.
without feedbacks from you, the listener. As the number one station for talk, we pride ourselves in not just having an engaging conversation that will enlighten, inform, educate, and sometimes even entertain you. From social issues, politics, business, or the stories making the headlines, we make you the center of those conversations by getting your thoughts and opinions too. We would love to hear from you. Be one of our conversations in Nigeria Info FM Port Harcourt and share your views via the following outlets. Call us live on 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, and 0817 923 0007. Or drop a message for us at Nigeria Info PH on X and at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. Ensure to always be civil and keep your conversations in tandem with the ongoing discussion. Also try to be brief and straight to the point so other contributors and contributions can also be accommodated. Nigeria Info FM. Real people, real conversations. Let's talk.
Facts 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Oracle Chinedu here. The PDP has asked the Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia to name the politicians he claimed are behind the killings in the state. And this comes after the governor accused Benue political office holders in Abuja to be behind the insecurity in the state. We've had a trend of people claiming that they know a person or two that is highly placed and responsible for the terror that rocks a particular region. But most times they have never actually named anyone. So I'm asking about this particular trend. Should that information be made public, especially as they don't mention names, or should it just be given to security agencies? Would naming and shaming bring about some accountability if a governor, a senator, or somebody who you know is well connected and highly placed makes that kind of statement in the media, in public? Would it bring about some accountability? Would it ensure that security agencies do their jobs of investigating and, of course, solving? 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. I'm going to pull up other instances where these kinds of allegations have been made and names were not mentioned. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Oracle.
Good evening. What's your name?
Yes, my name is Emeka.
All right.
From Alia living.
Go ahead.
My dear brother, I disagree with your guest in the studio
10
minutes ago, telling us that it was out of frustration that the Benue governor is saying that some highly politician is involved in Boko Haram and insecurity in northern part. It's not only Benue governor that has alleged that. Bronu governor also did the same thing last month. Was telling us that there are high-profile politicians that is involved in this insecurity that is ravaging the northern part. And not today. Our president have he don't want to investigate it. What we needed from him to do is to set up a panel that will now investigate those information. A position of the governor is not ordinary position. For a governor of a state, a matured man, a reverend father, that will come on here and tell you that a high profile politician is involved. But I can't think that kind of that is a responsibility. He wants to be done. So what we needed from them, they should investigate. Because we are tired of a secret investigation of the police. They should expose the people. Let us know them by their name and their address. Thank you, God bless you.
All right, thank you very much. I have Temple calling from HA. Hello, Temple. Good evening.
The very distinguished Sam Oracle Chinedu.
Good evening.
I celebrate you, sir. Are you enjoying your new week?
Amazing.
You made a statement. If such information should be made public or given to the security agent or agencies, am I right?
Yeah.
I want to tell you why this information is made public, because he wants to play politics with it. He doesn't have any name. He doesn't know anybody. And if there is anybody we should call upon that is sponsoring, because thank God he said that political office holders, not be so.
Yeah.
The very distinguished.
Yes.
So who is he? Is he not an office holder, a political office holder, a number one citizen of the state? So he should tell us more names he knows, because he himself is according to what they say, the chief security officer. So even the former governor, you remember when Otton was there, Otton cried on top of his voice when there were a lot of insecurity and killings, herdsmen clash and what have you, as they normally say it. This young man today talking said that Otton was playing politics with it, that there was no insecurity, that nothing was happening. So why is he crying? So why you always make this unsubstantiated claim is because you also want to play politics. But if I thought there was any name at his disposal, I think by now he should have been able to mention 2 or 3 or 10 or more names. But I tell you, if there is anybody to be arrested, that man should be arrested, because he was the one, engineering and sponsoring them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Victor calls from 3. Hello, Victor.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
You know, Nigeria is a very funny country. We know our problems. We will be busy just chasing shadows. Somebody in this country mentioned names of somebody, a prominent politician in public fora, accused him of being responsible for the death of Angbashi. Was there any investigation done? Hello, sir.
I'm listening.
If an ordinary Nigerian had come on air to say that today, that Nigerian will not live in their house, but it's a politician that said it. And there's no way you can investigate a politician in Nigeria. So the man cared. He cannot say it. And that is why those who know this country feel that we are in a siege. How can you tell me that somebody is committing a crime against a state? Because as far as I'm concerned, that is terrorism. And you cannot mention it because you are scared. And like the last caller said, somebody elsewhere have also had this kind of experience. The man said politicians are behind it, which is not even a new news because our trends have actually shown that politicians are actually behind the terrorism Nigerians are facing in this country. But when have you heard that one of them has been caught and jailed? Rather, what they will do is to shoot our brothers and tell us it's blood sugar. God is watching them.
Did you have to go there, Victor? Okay, Chidebere, I'll be speaking with you shortly. Good evening. I want to ask the security agencies in Nigeria if I claim to know the people behind kidnappings and pipeline vandalization, especially in Niger Delta, won't I be invited for questioning? May God deliver our country, Nigeria. Americana from Obakiri says. And thank God says the statement of Benue State Governor is incomplete until he mentioned names of those sponsoring insecurity. Insecurity in Benue State is beyond prayer. We don't care to know if those behind the killing going on in Benue are foreigners or not. Deal with them squarely. You have no excuse to give your people. You swore an oath to protect lives and property. If you cannot, then there's no governance. Thank God ability. Atuebu says. My final call from Chidebere. Okay, I've lost that call. Sam, nobody will name anybody because I'm not expecting that to happen, and you shouldn't expect it either. Former President Muhammadu Buhari had an ample opportunity to name sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria, but he compiled the list, kept it a secret until he left office. Till today, nothing has been heard. If they mention names, they will go down too. Clinton says, so for the trend that, unfortunately, has been running for quite some time, in 2021, former Navy Commodore Kunle Olawumi, during an interview, he revealed that Boko Haram fighters in detention named current governors, senators, and Aso Rock officials as sponsors. However, he remarked that the government lacked the political will to act on these revelations, and no names were disclosed. He just made those claims. In September 2021, federal government's naming and shaming refusal, voiced by spokesperson Femi Adesina and presidential aide Garba Shehu, they affirmed the government had intelligence on terrorist financiers but would prioritize bringing malefactors to justice over naming and shaming. And still, no names were mentioned. Attorney General Abubakar Malami emphasized ongoing investigation and insisted it was not the time to name financiers until prosecutions are in process. Again, no names were mentioned. And there are other instances here where people in positions of authority claim that they know, they've heard, they have a list, they recorded, they confirm, they affirm. But still, names were not mentioned. So I guess I would leave us exactly where we have always been, in the hands of God. A program comes up now. 6 brings a major news. After that, it's open season.